USD 465. This is Joe Standard here, and I want to talk to you about people first language. So, first, I want to talk a little bit about the facts. 1 in 5 Americans have a disability. A lot of our students that we see in our hallways and in our schools, they're going to have a disability, and we need to make sure that we are treating them with respect. This is a minority group, and like any minority group, we need to be able to respect them. Disability is non-discriminate. It knows no bounds. It doesn't know bounds on race, gender, age. It doesn't matter. A disability can affect anyone at any time. But we need to remember that a disability is not who a person is, but it's what they have. Okay? We must always remember that. We cannot define a student or a person based off a disability that they have. We cannot do it. So, what is language first, you might be asking? Well, essentially, it's language that does not marginalize an individual. It's putting the individual first and the disability second. We should not be using words that marginalize an individual. We should not make people feel less than what they are. We must respect no matter what. We should put people before the disability, as stated beforehand. It is very important. We have got to make sure that our students feel accepted. And we must feel those that are in our building are as well. We should always make sure that we put interests first. They are not their disability. We have got to make sure that we put their interests ahead of all. And if you don't know, ask. That's all you have to do. Ask. Talk to them. Eye contact. That is very important. These are individuals, not a disability. We should only use disability descriptors for IEP meetings anyways. That is the only reason why we should use that. We need to omit the diagnosis when we're talking about people with disabilities. There's no excuse for the way we talk within our school. Because some things that I've seen in our building is sometimes appalling, but I do see others that highlight the positives as well. I do want to reiterate that. There are a lot of positives, but there are some things that I've noticed. Whether it's the students who are using the R word, I believe that word needs to be completely banned within our schools. We need to inform students that the R word is a very derogatory word and that we can no longer accept that as a society. We need to watch when we say sped kid. I hear that a lot, whether it's teachers talking or students down the hallway. They'll identify a student as a sped kid or that autistic student or that kid is spastic or the blind kid. Right? These are some things that I noticed, and you've probably seen them too. But we got to understand that those are the disabilities. Those are what we're calling these kids. We're identifying them off their disability and not who they are. But here's what we can do instead. Is we can say, people with disabilities instead of the handicapped or disabled. We can say he has autism, not he is autistic. We can say she has Down syndrome, not she's Downs or a mongoloid. She has a learning disability. Instead, we can say she's learning disabled, is what we should not say. We should say he has a physical disability, not he's a quadriplegic or is crippled. We should say he has a mental health condition, not he's emotionally disturbed or mentally ill or crazy. We should say he uses a wheelchair or mobility chair. We should not say he's confined to a wheelchair or is wheelchair bound. That is unacceptable. We shouldn't say that a student receives special ed. We should instead say she's in special ed. We should say she has a developmental delay instead of she's developmentally delayed. We should say children without disabilities instead of normal or healthy kids, because we're putting them in a high pedestal when we do that. And it's saying that our other kids are inferior. Some other things we can say they communicate with their eyes or a device, not nonverbal. Okay, so we can say people we serve instead of client, consumer, or recipient. We can say brain injury instead of brain damage. Accessible parking hotel room instead of handicap parking, handicap hotel room. That's a really big one that we see around in our district, especially when we have accessible parking around our buildings. We need to make sure that we're cognizant of the fact that those are not handicapped parking spaces. Those are accessibility parking areas. And we need to make sure we're saying she needs or she uses instead of she has a problem with or has special needs. So I want to thank you for listening to me for just a little bit. Thank you for giving me part of your day because I feel very passionate about this. And I want you to feel passionate as well. If you have any questions, please see one of the sites that are listed here. Thank you and have a great day.